about whether it's just youth crime, if it's adult crime. With the snatch and grab that was going on was not youth crime. That was people coming in, stealing people, breaking windows and cars and stealing purses. So I think we need to look at the whole area and then analyze where the crime is, and then make those decisions that will affect the whole area.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bakari.
This one is easy. I bet, if I could speculate for a second, that the age of the individuals who get in trouble or commit crime in this community, for the most part, are probably from 15 years to 25 years of age. This comes back to youth. And one of the things that I want to do as a commissioner is look at moving forward with a youth community center, because that's where this all starts, is the youth. And giving them a place to go, to learn, to study, to tutor, to get mentored by leaders in this community. We've got to get our youth engaged. I also want to start a commissioner's council here in Alachua, and I believe High Springs has a mayor's council, to engage our youth more in the process of the city and have somebody look up to. I coach basketball, so I deal with youth. I know people who have committed crimes and go to jail, and primarily they have been youth, but they need somebody in their life, and I think the community center, we can help to curb that a bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Caney.
Well, this is one case I'll have to agree completely with Mr. Bakari. The Youth Community Center is actually something that we worked on for several years. And the current Claytor Hathcock Community Center, the original intent of that was to be a youth center for exactly this type of purpose. We actually got a $5,000 grant from Sheriff Ulrich toward that. And the original idea was there was going to be a senior citizen center and a youth center that would be focused on the different needs of those populations. And so I agree with Mr. Bakari that we need to have a center that's focused on that. We have the recreational facilities, but we do need to have a place where at-risk youth can be helped, where they can be engaged and volunteer at, maybe projects that are going on, like we were talking about with the arts and the cultural activities, but get them involved in something so they're not out on the streets looking for trouble.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Rebuttal.
This is not really a rebuttal, because everything was said is very positive. I believe that the City Commission should start a citizenship program for our youth, especially the ones that are 12 to 15, where actually they come and shadow city workers, that they shadow the police, that they come to City Commission meetings and are allowed to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. I think if they could be able to do those type of things, I think we need to invite the local ministers to actually do the prayer at the opening of the City Commission. All this can be a positive influence if the children see engagement with the citizens and them personally shadowing people that are successful, that are actually making a difference in our community. So I would love to see the City Commission get behind a citizenship program for our youth.
Thank you, sir. At this time, it's 8:05. I think if the candidates are all in agreement, we'll do a couple more questions. Just to remind you that you do have an opportunity to rebut. As we've heard, rebuttal does not have to mean that you are taking a different position, but it just gives you another opportunity to maybe expound on your answer. So with that, the next question goes first to Ms. Perkins. Do you believe Alachua is in good fiscal health? If not, what would you change?
I would have to actually research this to know for sure if we are in good fiscal health, but it appears that we are. I see growth, and with growth there usually is health. It's not studied. If it was unhealthy, it would be. So based on that premise, I would say that we are in good fiscal health. But like I said, I would have to actually research it and to be able to make a more informed statement to that effect.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wolford.
Cash reserves have sort of been depleted in the last several years for a lot of good reasons. We got Santa Fe College here. We got a lot of growth in that particular area. I think we're okay financially. I think the commission is going to be taking some very strong positions as far as looking at wastewater and water rates because of trying to make each one of the funds. I think we have like 12 funds, and I think the goal is to make each one of those funds self-sufficient. So they have started the process to look at that, which I think once, if that can be accomplished, I think that will make us more financially stable, and we'll be able to start building our cash reserves back up.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Hill.
I think the goal of this commission is going to be, this next commission is going to be to maintain what we have within the taxpayers' ability to pay for it. And I think we're okay, and we have started some big projects that we need to keep going, but we have to do that in a way that the citizens can afford it. I remember we have rental property, and we have units open, and the reason we do is because people don't have money. I know we had a kid that came to see us, and he was from Seattle or Portland or somewhere. And we were sitting down talking to him, and he said, boy, it's Seattle or Portland, or whatever it was, it's so great. They have buses everywhere and trains everywhere, and everything is clean. I just loved living there. And being the hick I am, I said, well, what are you doing here? And he said, well, I couldn't afford to live there. And that's what I want to not happen here. I love this place. We need to be, I agree with the vision of being a city unto ourselves. We just have to do it so that we can afford it.
Thanks, sir. Next is Mr. Candy.
I'm a little skeptical about the rosy picture that has been portrayed in the last several years about the city's fiscal condition. I do think that a lot of the spending that has happened has been done in anticipation of growth, and a lot of development has been approved that if it was built, we'd have an increase in revenues. But what's happening right now is that we have a very large, well-paid staff at City Hall. We have large overhead in this city, but the revenues are decreasing. And so what's happening everywhere else is going to happen here. In a small town, everybody knows somebody who works for the city, but the city can't afford to be a jobs program. We have to make a realistic assessment of what is affordable and what is needed, and we've got to have a lean government. And I think the new commission is going to have to make some tough decisions about how to appropriate the scarce resources that we have, and there's going to have to be some changes and some belt tightening in the way the city does business. We're going to have to live within our means.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Bakari.
Yeah, when you plan, you plan to succeed, and you plan to grow, and you plan for the future. You don't plan to fail. So laying out a future, I don't think anybody could have ever foreseen that our economy was going to take a dump like it did. And Mr. Candy, if you did, I'd like you to go to Washington, because everybody's trying to figure this thing out. Of course we have issues. Of course there are money problems at the national level, the federal level, and here at the local level, especially in our legal department. And I think I have an idea of how to render that situation. And maybe I'll read from a statement I prepared tonight. I asked Mr. Kane to drop his lawsuit against the city of Alachua and the legal fees, and the motion and request to get rid of the legal fees, or to pay the legal fees, if that's possible. So that's one area the city needs to save money, is legal expenses. That's one area that I see right now that's just out in the open. It's been in the Gainesville Sun, the Alachua County Day, the High Springs Herald. Legal expenses are a lot. And so that is one area I foresee that we need to address. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I guess everyone finished?
Yes. Would you